Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Riley, aka The Curly Attraction. I'm back with my first YouTube video. If you are a subscriber in like 2014, then I used to do makeup and stuff like that. So if you remember me from that, I am a female barber now, and I do locks, braids, haircut, waxing, all that good stuff. I just wanted to get into what it is to be a female barber and just how I became a female barber. There's not a lot of female barbers on YouTube, and I really find that absolutely crazy. First of all, I really wanted to change that. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So first things first, I am 24 years old and I have a 2-year-old son. I have been cutting hair for approximately like 4 years now. I would say like 4 or 5 because I took a year off whenever I had my son. First things first, I got my cosmetology license right outside of high school. I was going to be a makeup artist. If you know me from before, I used to do makeup all the time, big, crazy makeup and stuff. It was just like super fun for me. I ended up being a cosmetologist so I could do makeup, hair, all that stuff. My mom just didn't want me to do MUA. If I wanted to do something different later on in life in the beauty industry, I wouldn't have been able to license. My mom, shout out to her, appreciate you for making me do that. And as far as why I started cutting hair, if we're being transparent, I got in trouble whenever I was like 18 years old, right outside of high school. I had something on my record that really kept me away from working at certain places and stuff like that. And my dad at the time, he was actually going to sports clips and getting cut by the manager there. He was like, "Hey, Asha," and shout out to Asha, "do you mind if my daughter came and worked for y'all?" She was like, "Yeah, of course, no problem." So I went up there as a receptionist, started that. I transferred over to being a barber because whenever the quarantine happened, which was around the time that I started cutting, they were like, "We don't need receptionists anymore. So either you get fired or you're going to be a barber." So I'm not going to lose my job. So I went ahead and was like, fuck it, let's try it. I started. I was so ass. I'll insert some pictures right now. The rest was history, honestly. I loved doing what I was doing. I enjoyed it. I honestly didn't think that I could grow anymore when it came to sports clips. Like I thought that was the end for me. But then I kind of like ventured out and found different shops and stuff. And now I am working at Smash in the City, which is one of the best owned barbershops, in my opinion, in Houston. That's basically like my backstory on why I started cutting hair and how I ended up in love with it. So as far as working with men, I've honestly always been drawn to men. Like it sounds bad, whether it be like friendships, t-shirts. I've just been able to be more comfortable with men. It honestly wasn't a hard thing for me. And in the beginning, like there wasn't really a lot of issues when it came to that. I wasn't like feeling like people were like looking at me a certain way or anything like that. But I think that's more so because I was working at sports clips. Yeah, so honestly it wasn't like a hard thing for me to work with men. One of the hardest things that I feel like in a male-dominated industry is people being so keen to having men being their barber. If you know, a lot of men, nowadays it's kind of different, but back when I was first starting, that was my biggest thing was men are just not trusting at first when it comes to a woman cutting their hair because that's not what they're used to. And that's perfectly fine. It's understandable. At the time when I was younger and I used to be a hothead, I used to be like, "Oh, so you don't think I cut hair?" and shit like that. But now that I'm older, I understand and I have a clientele and stuff like that. So I don't really even focus on people that don't want to get cut by me. Like, if you don't want to get cut by me, then you could just wait on the guys. Like, I don't mind it at all. As long as you set boundaries, I feel like it's fairly easy. And I have a great team around me. I'm around all men, to be honest. We have Smash, our owner, and then we have Dan, I have KP here, Mike, I have Kibo, and then we have one girl here, which is Coco. But she one of the guys too. But it's honestly not a big deal for me, and I don't think it should be a big deal for anybody, especially in 2025. Let's just get over that stigma because it's really not that hard, y'all. That we'll leave that to a different video. And would I recommend becoming a barber? Not even just as a woman, but as a barber in general. I think I would recommend it because everybody's always looking for a barber. There's always going to be a time that somebody is looking for a new one. You never know if somebody's like moving. Let's backstory a little bit. Before I did barbering, I was a hairstylist, and then I also did lashes. So when I did lashes, I was like, this feels like a luxury. Honestly, it's a good thing. Let's say if we ever go into a recession, oftentimes people are going to scale out things that they don't need. If somebody doesn't need their lashes done, then they're not going to get them done and they're going to wean them out slow. So I was like, I need to find something that's going to be good for the long run. In my head, that was barbering because a man is always going to need a haircut. I think the hardest thing about being a barber in general is finding a good shop. I have went through like 6 shops, y'all, in the span of 4 years, and my clients, they followed me. I'm blessed. Thank you for all my clients that have followed me thus far. But it is very hard to find a good barbershop that's going to be not sexist, not that somebody is going to kind of dim you down because you are a woman. Like, I feel like that's the hardest thing about finding a barbershop. The location has to be really good, and it can't be like too populated that y'all are drowned out. To look for people that are good in the shop, good reviews, a good management, people that are wanting to grow with you and everything. And I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure that you have a team that is growing and that is going to continue to grow even after you're gone. Because at the end of the day, every shop is temporary. Even this one that I'm at right now, it's going to be temporary because I'm going to end up wanting my own shop eventually. And last but not least, how is it being a mother and also being a barber? Me, I honestly love it because first of all, I can cut my son's hair. I cut his hair, I braid his hair, I do all that. Nobody touches my son but me, okay? Besides, I would say the hardest thing about being a mom and trying to grow your business whenever you're first starting and having to be away from your kids for long periods of time when it comes to being in the shop till like 7 o'clock. That's very hard. But having a good support system and having a village, they say you need it, and you need it. Having a village is very important. And if not, you got to figure out childcare, because childcare is very important. You want to have a good space for your child because they're going to be there all the time. Without my son, I would have no motivation for this shit. So I'm honestly so grateful to have him. And yeah, if you have any more questions as far as barbering or even just life in general with being a mommy and everything, don't mind asking. And I just appreciate y'all for watching. If you made it this far, like, subscribe, and comment down below on what you would like to see next, because I would like to do some day in the lives. So if y'all want to see something like that and that sounds interesting, just let me know. Peace, y'all.
I just wanna take you out and show you off. You already know that you're the perfect one.